A few months ago, I picked up this ancient custom-built gaming PC for $100 after shipping and tax, and while I probably paid too much for a system like this, I was wondering how a custom PC from a decade ago would perform in some modern games in 2022. So let me show you guys what I had to do and the process I had to go through to get this PC ready to go, and also a few upgrades I decided to do to this system. So sit back and enjoy. So after taking the PC out of its box and unwrapping it, I soon find out that the specs that are advertised to me were not the same as what I actually received. However, I just took it out of the box and I see that it does not even match what it was in the photos. The PC was originally advertised as having an X58 6-core Xeon, 12 gigs of DDR3 RAM, a 2TB hard drive, and an NVIDIA Quadro 600 graphics card. However, when I received the PC, I actually had an AMD Phenom 2X6 CPU, which is still a 6-core CPU, but it's a much weaker 6-core chip, 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM instead of 12, so that's a nice upgrade I guess, 0 storage at all, and a GTX 555 1GB graphics card instead of the Quadro 600 it was supposed to come with. And I assume that the GTX 555 is an upgrade over the Quadro, but it's still not a very good card at all. So because this site sells everything as is and untested, I can't get my money back, so I'll have to make do with what I got. So now I'm going to show you guys what I had to do to get this PC up and running, and then I'm going to talk to you about a couple upgrades I did to this system because most definitely need it, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some benchmarks on how this decade-old PC runs games in 2022. First thing I did to get this PC ready to use was go outside and blow out the loose dust with a good old leaf blower. This was back during the winter, so it was a crisp 40 degrees out that day. After that's done, I take the PC back inside and do a complete disassembly of the PC to clean everything individually. The fans that were included in this PC were either seized up or super loud due to them being 10-year-old Molex fans, so I'll be replacing the fans later in the video. After stripping down the case, I give it a nice old wash in the bathtub. I don't have any footage of that, but while the case dries, I can start cleaning the individual components. Alright, now that everything is cleaned out, we can start the reassembly. I'm also going to be making a few part changes, however. I'm going to be swapping out the Corsair 550W PSU for a Dell 460W PSU I had. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm running super low in PSUs and I needed the Corsair unit for another build. Dell makes pretty good OEM PSUs though, so we should have no issues at all with this PSU. I'm also swapping out the GTX 555 1GB for a Radeon HD 6950 2GB. The reason I'm doing this is because after I sell the GTX 555 on eBay, after fees the HD 6950 would be a free upgrade as I only paid $20 for the 6950 on Facebook Marketplace. I'm also going to replace the terrible blue LED fans that this PC came with a 3-pack of ARGB fans that I had lying around and I completely forgot that I had. So now let's upgrade and reassemble this PC. Alright guys, with the slight upgrades that we did with this machine, which included the Dell 460 watt power supply, which wasn't really an upgrade, but just a more suited power supply, upgrading the GTX 555 to a Radeon 6950 2GB, which will definitely help with that extra gig of VRAM, and also putting in some nice RGB fans to give this PC a little more bling. So, with these slight upgrades, let's see how this PC performs with some modern games. The games we're going to be testing today are Fortnite, CSGO, Minecraft, and GTA 5. Up first is Fortnite, and at 1080p with performance mode and high textures, we get an average of 90 FPS. Very playable, and it doesn't actually look that bad in performance mode considering the fact that we are using high textures. Very playable indeed. Up next is CSGO, and at 1080p low settings we get around 150 FPS average. MSI Afterburner doesn't work in CSGO, so I can't give an estimate for the average FPS, but judging from the little FPS counter in the corner, that's what I was able to determine. Up next is Minecraft, and at 1080p with fancy graphics and 8-chunk render distance, we got an average of 67 FPS. There were some stutters when loading into the world and exploring some new areas, but once those were loaded in, it was a very playable experience. And finally for GTA 5, at 1080p medium settings, we get an average of 42 FPS. Sadly not close to the 60 FPS mark, but still very playable on this machine.
Huh? What you gonna do, huh? What you gonna do about it, huh? The train's in your way.
I'm going on the train.
Dude!
Where's Zach at?
He's on the train!
He's on the train! He's on the fucking train!
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and made it to the end. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for some new content that's going to be coming soon. Since I have some free time since I'm no longer in school, I definitely will have some extra free time to be able to make videos, hopefully. So, stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all in the next video very soon.